My name is Evan, and this is Jake, and we are the co-best men of this here celebration.
Yes, welcome to this shindig. We are so thankful that you guys are all here. Amidst everything, I mean, this has been a huge whirlwind of changing of plans, right up my alley, being spontaneous. But seriously, we're so thankful to be here, and we just want to share a bit of what is so cool about being the honorary best men for the wedding between Sammy and Caleb. We had the best speech ever written.
It was incredible.
It was amazing. We had a circus, we had hundreds of people, we had lots of non-social distancing, and COVID ruined that because it decided to hang around. So we had to rewrite our speech. And we decided, you know what? We can't really get over this hump. So we decided, let's narrow it down. And we have for you today 4 things that COVID ruins that Caleb does extremely well. Extremely well.
The first thing that comes to my mind is consistency. We know that in 2020, nothing is consistent. We've been through the ringer this year. Any sort of plan that we made, that's gone. Any travel, also gone. Big, huge weddings, celebrations, those are all gone out the window. But something that I know about Caleb over the last 6 years that I've known him is that he is extremely consistent. He's rooted, he's grounded, he is one that has a foundation that carries him through all of his situations. And I'm sure everyone in this room has a story, and if not yet, they will, that they can see this foundation that he has and how he approaches every situation through that foundation, rooted in the Lord, rooted in his friendships. And he brings that out in his relationships with us, but also I know he's going to carry that into his marriage with Sammy.
And I might be a great example of how he does this. We played baseball together, if anyone didn't know that. I'm a very emotional baseball player. My highs are really high, my lows are really low. And it's a very passionate game. I'm tearing up now just because I love the game so much and I get so caught up. And I had the best co-captain alongside me at St. Thomas in Caleb, because he was someone he'd pull me aside, he'd grab my ear when he needed to speak life into me and be like, hey man, we need to do X, Y, and Z. Which has just been such a challenge for me to be able to realize and coach myself in those moments. And he's owned some property in my mind as a voice of conscience for me. And that's mainly through his consistency. His character I can rely on to always be there sharpening me. And that's just one of the 4 things that COVID has ruined, but that Caleb does extremely well. Number 2. Number 2 is counsel. So counsel has changed a little bit. We can still get on FaceTime, call each other like the good old days. But counsel has taken a different form from what we as close friends may experience. It's almost always around food. Taco Bell drive-thrus, Chipotle runs, grabbing a beer at a brewery as we matured, right? Over 21. And one of the coolest things that comes to mind when we think about counsel in Caleb is how much he believes in counseling with conviction. Caleb had a vision for the college ministry that we were a part of, and seeing the men on that campus seek a mentor and be a mentor. In fact, if this full room was invited after COVID ruined another thing, if all those guests were here, you would have seen a large representation of those directly impacted by Caleb's commitment and belief in counsel. That's just been something so core to his character that's sharpened me and pushed me to continue living that out.
Yeah, and for me, at a heart level, I know that Caleb is an incredible listener. And I think if anybody's been around him, they know that. And he's helped me become the man that I am today because of that. Through these long talks, sitting down on a couch, one-on-one, just listening to me and letting me process these things through. So he's counseled me as we've done life one-on-one together. And so counsel is something that COVID has tried to ruin, but Caleb does extremely well. Number 3 is contact. This one might be pretty easy to understand. We've been pushed out of our normal workspaces and shoved into our homes and our apartments to sit there for months and months and rust away. But we know that Caleb does contact very well. His number 1 love language is physical touch. He loves being close by people. He always finds his way into a big, big, big hug. And he and I have lived together for 3-ish years, and I wish we could have a couple more. I think it's unlikely moving forward. But we know that whenever he has a chance, we'd end up sitting on the couch together, like I just said before, just one-on-one, side-by-side, sitting together. And he has done an incredible job, even through COVID, finding ways to get close with people and come alongside people in their times of need.
I put Caleb as an emergency contact on a job application once. It's really true. He is an emergency contact for me. So a different spin on the word contact, because it's so true how much he appreciates that. But our social relation in contact has meant so much. There was a time that it was when my now bride, Mackenzie, and I were dating, when Caleb and I were playing in a summer baseball league against each other. Actually, we were on different teams. And it was a hard summer that I was really working through some things in my heart that my wife, or my girlfriend at the time, was helping me to uncover. But in being in the city, I didn't have close contact with the guys that I had and roommates that I had close to me. So Caleb took me out for a burger and a beer. Food gathers, right? Took me out and basically broke me down. I mean, it really was an emergency contact situation for me. It's something that my wife and I reflect on, just because he's been such a great brother in Christ to point me in the right direction when I need it, to speak the words that I need to hear. And it's been such a celebration of that character throughout our relationship. So that's just one of many examples that he's been an emergency contact. So contact is another thing that COVID's ruined, but that Caleb does extremely well. Oh, we have a smart audience. Number four, celebrations. And here we are, right, at 19% capacity for math geeks out there, roughly, where we actually can't do the cha-cha slide or the footloose dance that we're so accustomed to in our wedding dancing traditions, to see Caleb be soaked in sweat again, because he's so good at those things. But seriously, with the change of how celebrations are looking this year, really an epitome for Caleb is in longevity, right? We come here for one day, and albeit a fun celebration, that's not really the kind of celebration that Caleb's about. If you ask any of the younger men that were in our Bible study together, the younger men that played on our baseball team, you'll know that Caleb just has this keen awareness to celebrating people continually. He knows little details about them that he can pick out. He knows how to stay on top of rhythms that people need to be encouraged and need to be celebrated for. Those are things that we always expect. The world would end if he ever didn't call me on my birthday, because he's been such a great celebration for each of our lives.
Yeah, and one example for me, is Jake kind of alluded to, is at my wedding, July, he was drenched. I mean, this guy was on the dance floor. It was incredible. It was very warm, but he was, and there's a couple other guys that he was out there with, but just head to toe, this guy was out there the whole entire time, and I just felt that. And as Jake said, it carries on, though. It's not just in a one given moment. Caleb always finds a way to celebrate those around him, and that's why I think this day hurt in a lot of ways, right? Because we've had to cut back down to the core set of people. But Caleb, you are so celebrated, and we will continue to celebrate you in this time, because you do that so well for us, man. And so celebrations are something that COVID has tried to ruin, but Caleb does extremely well. Thank you. And so to wrap it up, through consistency, counsel, contact, and celebrations, Caleb is somebody that you want by your side. He fixes the worst parts about everything, including COVID, and he rolls with every punch that's been thrown his way.
So we're speaking as the best men representing, but just two examples of brothers that have gotten to cleave to Caleb over the 6 years we've known him. And Sammy, we're so honored that you get to take our place as that primary human recipient, because you guys are going to be such a dynamic duo for the Kingdom of Darkness to fear. So we're so excited for those attributes of Caleb that we admire so much, that we love about him in so many ways. And it won't stop. We just get to change who receives that priority. So we're so excited for you guys.
And to the beautiful couple, we say, may your home be filled with laughter.
May you be sealed with the joy of the Lord.
And your love for one another be everlasting. And so would everybody please raise their imaginary glasses? And say with us, cheers to the fern holes. Cheers to the fern holes. Jingling, ding, 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 ding. Okay. Woo!
Right behind you.